How is everybody doing today? This episode of Slice of Pie is the first episode since we hit 1,000 subscribers. And I already did post a video kind of thanking you guys for it. And honestly, like from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so very, very much. Everybody who's been watching this channel and watching our growth, like you guys are all amazing. You're making a dream come true for me that I did not think would ever be possible. A dream I gave up on several times. So seriously, thank you guys so very, very much. And without further ado, let's talk about the tech and gaming news. Well, there's a bit more ado. There's an intro right here. How's everybody doing today? Today, we're gonna be talking about quite a few interesting stories around hardware, actually. We've got a lot on my notes here. Got my Razer phone here. And you know, why don't we lead with that? Razer has officially killed the Razer phone. Well, I don't know if they've officially killed it, but it's pretty dead. You can no longer buy them brand new from Amazon. You can no longer buy them on the Razer website, and the product page for the Razer phone is missing. Now, the Razer phone is still referenced in the Jungle Cat manuals and documentation, and is even mentioned in the Hammerhead documentation, but the phone itself is missing. This pretty much means that curtains have been called on the entire Razer phone ecosystem, which is kind of a bummer because I actually really like this phone. As weird as it sounds, I think Razer's approach to a gaming phone was a lot less tacky than ASUS's and Lenovo's. Red is actually not too far behind Razer in the design aspect, but when it comes down to actually being kind of a sleek and elegant piece, like this phone was awesome. And I honestly was even working on a video that was like what I would want to see in a Razer Phone 3, but it's pretty much end of life at this point. So this phone probably's got a year left on it before Razer no longer has software updates. So essentially, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but we will be talking about Razer some more at the end of the episode with some more positive things. But essentially, it's kind of sad to say, but the Razer phone is dead. AMD has rolled out instructions for resellers, actually. Specifically, this is directed towards Amazon, Newegg, and B&H. Anybody who actually sells the products from a second hand. So they're the ones who buy it from the manufacturers or allocate it from the manufacturers and then sell them to the consumer. They've actually rolled out what is their plan to prevent the 3080 issue from happening to Big Navi. Now, this does actually kind of matter because it means that AMD is actively trying to make sure that Big Navi GPUs end up in the hands of people who actually want them instead of people who are trying to scalp them and resell them. Part of their instructions actually prevent sites like Amazon from allowing resellers to resell the product when they are pretty much brand new. There's also some other protections that I honestly do believe that Newegg needs, such as the allocation of the product to the cart when it's added to the cart. So essentially the issue that I ran into when I was trying to buy the 3080, where I had an item in the cart, but it was gone by the time I tried to check out, would not be an issue because it would be in my cart when I'm there to check out, which would prevent bots from essentially speed buying, which is what they were doing to deplete the stock. Also, they suggested anti-bot detection and several other things to kind of monitor and adjust how the GPUs come out. And honestly, it's good to see that AMD is kind of taking a stand on this. They're directing the resellers like, hey, we saw what happened here. This is our suggestion, and we'll see how many of them actually do it. And I do believe that if we see anything, Newegg is going to be the site that probably does the most in this regard because they were one of the sites that got kind of hit the hardest. Unfortunately, Newegg as a whole is being constantly slammed with bots on this, and I do think they need some better bot detection. Speaking of the 3080 and demand, Nvidia can't keep up with it, actually. They are only really meeting around 10% of the demand for their GPUs, which is kind of shocking. In fact, it makes it so that it looks like Nvidia is not actually producing enough of these things. Now, rumor has it that Nvidia is actually holding on the GPUs so that when Big Navi launches, they could just shock the market with just a bunch of 3080s. But there were also rumors that they were going to hold out and have a higher GDDR version of the 3080 that was essentially a 3080 Ti or a 3080 Super. Those two cards supposedly have been canceled. The 3080 Super and the 3070 Super or Ti were actually rumored to be canceled now, after being revealed that they were happening and Nvidia not being able to actually meet the demand, which means most likely the decision was made that we can just sell the GPUs as is instead of having to put more into the memory and kind of screw ourselves. They aren't meeting demand, which means they just need to increase the supply and they don't really need to do anything. That being said, AMD is about to launch, or at least announce, their GPUs, and really it could be a whirlwind or it could be disappointment. Now, statistically, it's been a disappointment, but I'm hearing a lot of rumors behind the scenes about this that like indicate that it might not be. But we're not gonna comment too much more on the AMD side of the rumors because, well, the event is like literally, I think it's on the 28th, so it's like 4 days away. Like, I can say something in here and by the time you watch this video, it's already wrong. So I'm not gonna play that game, honestly. Zen 3 is coming to Epic. Well, probably. Well, let's be honest. It will get there eventually, but Zen 3 Epic processor has been spotted out in the wild, and it's only a matter of time. They haven't really launched for desktop yet, but I do suspect that shortly after, we're going to get Zen 3 Epic, and then, of course, Threadripper, because Threadripper is just a cut down version of Epic with more consumer features and less professional features. So essentially, we're probably gonna be getting Threadripper at some point, and then I'm kind of curious to see what 3rd gen Threadripper even looks like and what kind of a beast of a processor that will actually be. Oh, and in AMD's processor event, they made a big deal of Threadripper, so it's like highly unlikely that they plan on getting rid of it. Let's talk about some ASUS news. ASUS is releasing a new Hero motherboard for the AM4 platform. The Dark Hero should have been out a while ago. This one actually has a passive cooler over the chipset and pretty much all the same features that the Hero has, with a nice black and gray color scheme. And the worst part is, because it's called the Dark Hero, it really belongs in dark matter. So unfortunately, due to another story that we're gonna talk about, I am gonna be getting this motherboard. I'm gonna be getting this motherboard and I'm going to be putting it in dark matter specifically. But at the same time, like, I wish it had come out earlier so that I could have put it in there to begin with. But that brings us into our next story. ASUS is officially ending support for Supernova's original motherboard, the Hero 7, because this is the Hero 8. So, right? Or are those GoPros? Formula 7, Formula 8. Yes, they are the Formula 7 and Formula 8. They are officially actually ending support for the X470 version of their motherboard, which is a little weird because high-end motherboard, pretty reputable company, usually means that they'll have the same support that the others will have. And then one last bit of ASUS news. ASUS is launching Gundam-themed motherboards and graphics cards. And honestly, they're really expensive. They're not something I'd be buying. I'm not a huge Gundam fan. I do like Gundam, but I'm not gonna be the kind of person to buy these GPUs and motherboards. They're extremely limited and they're sold primarily in Japan. So you're not necessarily gonna be getting them here in the United States. But if you have a need to have a Gundam PC, ASUS has got you covered. All right, let's talk about a couple of fun, really small stories. Western Digital is releasing a PCIe SSD with RGB. It's a Western Digital Black with RGB, and I kind of love it. I mean, WD is not known for RGB hard drives, but I always love when a company goes way out of their way to provide something that's completely unnecessary. Just it just, I love it. I absolutely love it. It adds a little bit more. I don't know how it's controlled. I don't think that actually was in the article that I read about it. But if it's controlled by the motherboard, then honestly, you can have seamless integration with your hard drive, your graphics card, your CPU water block, your fans, your RGB strips, your motherboard, your keyboard, your mouse. Well, actually, sort of. That's kind of actually really hard to get all of those together. This case actually showed up and it's really super crazy. It's by Ryzen Tech. I've only ever heard about them in PC Builder Simulator. But this case, well, honestly, it's overkill. It is overkill to an extreme, but it kind of is awesome. It's like an O11, but like they added a platform for just liquid cooling. Like, it is what I would envision an over-the-top version of this PC looking like. I kind of want it, I'm not gonna lie, but Ryzen Tech is actually really, really hard to get stateside. Only a couple of companies, Newegg included, do carry their products, and they don't carry much of their products. Plus, I believe they sell primarily to other companies. Like, they're one of those ones that you buy the case blank and you can put your logo on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this case again, just with somebody else's name on it. All right, and as I have alluded to throughout the video, we've got some crazy Razer news. Razer had a bit of an event where they decided to announce and reveal a lot of stuff. And I'm just gonna go over the highlights, starting with Sneaky. Or Sneaky. I want it. I don't care what it's called. It's a plushy snake. And for everyone you buy, they plant trees. It is awesome. It's sold out. I still want it, and I will get a hold of it at some point. But this adorable little thing is Razer's new mascot. Yes, the company that's got the three-headed snake logo now has this adorable creature in their repertoire. Their brand is being represented by adorableness. They also are launching a gaming chair, and it looks a lot like the Titan from Secret Labs that I actually have back there, which is a good thing actually. The Titan is actually a really good chair, and I need to get around to reviewing it at some point, but I'm really bad at remembering to review it. I've got footage, I've got like a video shot. I just need to like do my final thoughts on it, and I just haven't, and that's a bad thing. I'm sorry guys, I'm really bad at this. They also announced and have actually launched, I think at this point, the Razer Siren Mini. Now the Siren is a big USB microphone, and they've made it smaller, and then they made the Siren emoji with like a little pixel screen on it, which again, Razer is just doing their own thing, and I kind of approve of that. The Siren Mini is even smaller. In fact, actually, this little tiny microphone is kind of impressive. I can see it being really usable in a sort of portable setup. Razer is finally launching the Tomahawk case, and I kind of am disappointed. I was actually looking forward to the Tomahawk because it had like this weird scissor door thing. It looked really unique when we saw it at CCS. And now, it's an H500. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is an H500 from what I can tell from the renders, with some features from the LAN cool, and it's just not great. Like, it's expensive. It's $200 for this case that is on screen. This case that looks an awful lot like an NZXT case that can be had for $100 and sometimes even below that. This case, and it bothers me a little bit, like Razer. I'm gonna be point blank with you guys. I don't know if you actually watch these videos. I highly doubt you do, but there's also times where I think you do because you do things that I say in my videos. This is $100. This is a $200 case. This case dwarfs the one that you have here. Unless this thing is like massive and your scaling is just wrong, this case dwarfs it. It comes with fans and fan controller, multiple interchangeable panels, the ability to water cool using 420 millimeter radiators, 2 of them, at $200. This one even further back here is also a $200 case. This one has water cooling features out the yin yang, full steel and aluminum side panels and tempered glass. No plastic on that one either. This one's got a little bit of plastic. That case right there is a lot of tooling. This case is a lot of tooling. Why is the thing that looks like a plain box $200? I know you guys said you have RGB built into it. But again, NZXT sells a case identical with RGB and an RGB controller for less. I'm saying this as somebody who actually was genuinely interested in this and is now disappointed. I don't think you've got the feature set to charge that much money. And unfortunately, I do think that the Razer Tomahawk is going to, unfortunately, not succeed. I know I'm being real critical about this, but like, look at this. Look at this. Tell me these aren't the same case. And one last thing, Razer wise, and this time I'm not gonna punch on you guys. I'm sorry, got a little heated there, but like, I really am genuinely disappointed about the Tomahawk, and it's okay. I'm gonna make it up to you guys with something that you guys didn't even announce. Razer is partnering with ASRock to make Razer motherboards. Now you may be thinking, wait a second, ASRock Razer motherboards? Why do I need this? Well, you see, Razer is trying to make it so that the Chroma ecosystem can be used for everything. And honestly, out of all of the RGB software that I use, I prefer Chroma. I like how you can adjust everything on a game-by-game basis, and if there's not a profile for it, you can make one for it. That being said, with this motherboard and their RGB controller, which they also just announced, you can actually feasibly have a case that is 100% Chroma compatible. The motherboard is going to be a native it's natively going to support Chroma, and the motherboard is actually a Taichi that has Razer branding on it. So that's kind of awesome actually, because the Taichis are really good motherboards. It also means it's AM4, it's AMD. And so honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I have so many projects going right now, I would be planning a build around that. And I still might be at some point. But right now, it's more about finishing what's on my plate and moving on. But with that, we are moving on. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I do this show every other week, and essentially, at this point, as long as everything goes as planned, I should actually have some content that's going to slot in and go live automatically. So automatically videos will be going to your sub box if you hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be doing a DIY home server and an FX system. Actually, I think that's the next video that's coming out. So yeah, thank you guys again. Wolfie, out.